a 2D artillery tactical video game developed by Team 17 and released in 1995, turned out to be a huge commercial success, beginning a long-lasting saga of games. By March 1996, its sales had reached almost 250,000 copies. Across all its ports, the game ultimately sold above 5 million units by 2006. Worms was included as one of the titles in the 2010 book 1001 Video Games You Must Play Before You Die. In 1996, Games Master ranked Worms 67th on their top 100 games of all time. The game is based on the 2D classic artillery and originally did not feature worms, but the lemmings from the popular game of the same name. The objective is to kill every member of the opposing team. The weapons include simple firearms like the shotgun and Uzi, alongside a variety of heavy weapons such as the bazooka, cluster bomb, and airstrike. Worms Reinforcements is an expansion pack for Worms. Released only for PC, it added a single-player campaign and the ability to add custom levels and sound packs, which was already available for the Amiga version, in addition to full motion video sequences. The Director's Cut is a sequel to Worms, available only on the Amiga. It is largely built upon the original Amiga game engine with various gameplay enhancements and additions, as well as graphical improvements and fixes. It was received well by critics, with Amiga Format and CU Amiga awarding the game 90% and 91% respectively. But the first true sequel to the original Worms was Worms 2. It also starts off the second generation of Worms. Worms 2 features the same premise as the original game and involves controlling an army of up to 8 worms per team and using a collection of eclectic weaponry such as bazookas, dynamite, grenades, cluster bombs, homing missiles, banana bombs, and the infamous Holy Hand grenade. It features a completely new graphics system. It is also the first Worms game to feature cartoonish graphics, which remained in every game since. In the United States, PC Data reported sales of 68,396 copies for Worms 2 during 1998, which accounted for about $1.88 million in revenue. On its Game of the Century column in 2000, PC PowerPlay ranked it the 42nd greatest game for its variety of weapons and considered it as a candidate for the best multiplayer game. Addiction Pinball is a pinball video game developed by Team 17. It was ported to the PlayStation in 1999 as Worms Pinball to capitalize on the success of the Worms franchise. The PlayStation version was published by Infogrames and was only released in Europe. The third installment in the series, Worms Armageddon, was originally developed as an expansion pack to Worms 2. Worms Armageddon was acclaimed by critics who praised the refined gameplay and stylized graphics, and it has been featured in a number of greatest games of all time lists. In multiplayer games or skirmishes, the player can create custom game modes with preferred gameplay options and weapon sets. The PlayStation version received a Gold Sales Award from the Entertainment and Leisure Software Publishers Association, indicating sales of at least 200,000 units in the UK. The PlayStation and Dreamcast versions won the award for Best Strategy Game at the EGM Game Blast Awards. Worms Armageddon is one of the most successful games in the series, with the greatest current player population in the Worms series. Another game came out in 2001. Worms World Party was the last 2D Worms game. The player can set up many options prior to battle to tailor the experience. There are also single-player and multiplayer missions available to help refine the player's skills with the various weapons and utilities. The main complaint in the individual reviews is that the game was too similar to Worms Armageddon, with merely incremental improvements. The PC version received a Silver Sales Award from the Entertainment and Leisure Software Publishers Association, indicating sales of at least 100,000 units in the UK. The same PC version was ranked 30 of PC PowerPlay's top 100 PC games of all time in 2001. It was voted by about 1.22 million gamers as the second runner-up for the Mobile Game of the Year in the Golden Joystick Awards 2009. Worms Blast was released in 2002. The game is played with 9 characters. The gameplay is similar to that of Puzzle Bobble / Bust a Move. In 2003, Worms 3D was presented to the world. The gameplay itself is mostly unchanged from its predecessors, with the exception of the three-dimensional view, which allows the player more freedom and more possibilities to complete the task at hand. Andy Davidson, the creator of the Worms franchise and who had already left Team 17, objected to the company's decision to develop a 3D Worms game. He argued that Worms and its mechanics were based on 2 dimensions only, and that adding another dimension broke much of the mechanics. Worms 3D won the ELSPA Silver Award, indicating that the game sold at least 100,000 copies in the United Kingdom. Worms Golf came out in 2004. It's an arcade game based on the sport golf in which the player hits a grenade toward an enemy worm who is tied to a stick. Worms Forts Under Siege is a follow-up to the previous Worms 3D. While the primary method of victory is to destroy the opposing team, victory can also be achieved by destroying the opposing stronghold. Eurogamer said Team 17 obviously knew it had to try something new in order to keep pumping out Worms titles, but while it sounds like it might work on paper, the Fort vs. Fort gameplay definitely doesn't gel with the Worms dynamic, giving the game 4 out of 10 score. 8th installment in the Worms series was released in 2005. Worms 4 Mayhem adds new features, including the ability to customize Worms' appearance as well as create their own unique weapons in a new feature called the Weapon Factory. The game also contains a shop where players can buy various items using points won by completing story missions, challenges, or unlocking trophies. The game was criticized for its lack of difference from previous 3D Worms games. Worms Open Warfare from 2007 was the first game in the Worms series to be released for 7th generation handheld consoles and marked the series' return to its original 2D gameplay style. It starts the 3rd generation of Worms games. The game tries to be loyal to the original Worms spirit, but it received mixed reviews. Game Rankings and Metacritic gave the PSP version 70 out of 100 based on 22 reviews and the DS version 64 out of 100 based on 24 reviews. The 2007 version of Worms that came out on PlayStation 3 and Xbox is an enhanced port of Worms. Open Warfare, which itself is a remake of the original 1995 video game of the same name. The backgrounds have a surprising level of depth, and the worms themselves, while relatively small, come across with some great mischievous personality. Meanwhile, Worms Open Warfare 2 was released on PSP and Nintendo DS. Both versions of the game were praised by the gaming critic community. GameSpy called it the best Worms game to date and, comparing it to Worms Open Warfare, said it improves on the previous title in every way imaginable. By the year 2008, Worms conquered space with Worms Space Oddity released exclusively on Nintendo Wii. Game uses gesture-based controls which allow players to launch various attacks. A Space Oddity received mixed or average reviews from critics. In 2009, Worms Armageddon 2 came out on PlayStation 3 and Xbox. It included a single-player campaign with 30 missions of progressing difficulty and 5 extra missions, which can be bought from the shop. The game was also packed with multiplayer modes and many downloadable content packs. The critics' reaction to the game has been generally positive. It has a rating of 84 out of 100 on Metacritic, based on 24 reviews. IGN gave it a score of 8.5 out of 10, concluding, "This is one of the most fun multiplayer games around, and now the single-player campaign provides a satisfying experience as well." In 2010, the game was ported to PC as Worms Reloaded. GameSpot commented, The latest entry in the long-running Worms series further refines the 15-year-old formula and is one of the best yet, giving it an 8.0. Meanwhile, Worms Battle Islands were released on PSP and Nintendo Wii. A new feature specific to Worms is that each player has their own island, displaying whatever abilities they have awarded to them for the online tactics mode. These abilities allow them to make decisions such as positioning their worms or increasing their health points before the battle. In 2011, Worms Ultimate Mayhem was released on PC, PS3 and Xbox 360. The game is a re-release of Worms 4 with improved graphics. It features all new content, story mode, voice acting by Guy Harris, and other gameplay fixes such as reworked camera controls. According to GamePro, despite its obvious charm, it still remains one of the weaker offerings in the Worms arsenal. Also the same year, another golf spin-off came around. The game utilizes a side-on two-dimensional playfield, as in the core Worms series. The goal is to put a ball from the starting point on the map to the hole in as few hits as possible. There are also coins to be collected on each map, which can be used to purchase unlockables including costumes, golf clubs and balls. Worms Revolution was released in 2012 for PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, Xbox and PC. Like previous games in the series, gameplay is 2D and turn-based, but it is rendered with a new 3D engine. New to the game is a stronger emphasis on dynamic physics. There are now several areas throughout the level where pools of water can be found. By blowing up the environment, players can set loose this water and wash away opponents. Another new addition to the series is the inclusion of 4 different classes: Soldier, Scout, Scientist and Heavy. IGN gave the game a score of 8.5, praising its fun gameplay and massive potential for customization, whilst criticizing some of the physics objects. Worms 3 were released in 2013 as a mobile game. It is the first Worms game to feature card mode, which allows the player to alter the start and end of each turn. There are 41 cards in total, which must be collected first by unlocking in-game rewards and purchasing them. Games Master gave the game 90 out of 100 and a gold award, praising the new card mode and called the multiplayer so good it'll make you squirm in delight. In August that same year, Worms Clan Wars came out on personal computers. The campaign story focuses on a character named Tara Pinkle, who serves as the game's narrator as well as providing missions for the team. In addition to campaign mode, the game also features 10 Worm Ops missions that feature time attack modes. Worms Clan Wars has improved the online gameplay. The game allows players to create clans and chat on WormNet, the game's own lobby and chat system. A console port, Worms Battlegrounds, was released the following year. Set within a world history museum, the single-player story follows the player's Worms attempt to retrieve the concrete donkey stone carrot from Lord Darius Mesmer, a worm who is using it to try to take over the world. Worms Battlegrounds received mixed reviews. It has a Metacritic score of 62 out of 170 out of 100 for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions, respectively. Worms 4 was released in 2015 on mobile devices. Game received positive reviews. It has a score of 74 out of 100 on Metacritic. Game continues the old-fashioned combat from the series, but also found issues with the online multiplayer, noting that the server has a hard time finding other live opponents. Worms W.M.D. was released in 2016 on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC. Its gameplay resembles that of Worms Armageddon more than previous installments, while adding new features that range from interactive vehicles such as tanks to buildings that the worms can enter for protection. It is also notable for being the first major redesign the worm characters have received since Worms 3D. Worms W.M.D. aims to replicate the gameplay of Worms Armageddon, with graphics and game design returned to a 2D interface. Gameplay elements from previous installments, such as classes, water physics and dynamic objects, are all removed. A new feature includes the ability for players to craft weapons by gathering parts, whether from special crates or by dismantling weapons. Players can craft their weapons even outside of their turns. For the first time, vehicles and gun turrets are introduced, which can alter gameplay in many ways. GameSpot rated the game 8 out of 10 and said, "The relatively simple gameplay is overflowing with finesse and strategy. The presentation is fantastic, and offline or on, Worms is just incredibly fun." In 2020, Worms Rumble was released on all the main home systems and computers. The game features a variety of exotic weapons, such as sheep launchers, plasma blasters, and sentry turrets, which can be used to defeat enemies. Players can acquire jetpacks and grappling hooks to navigate the environment easily. For the first time in the series, matches are exclusively real-time battles. Expanding beyond digital platforms, Team 17 has collaborated with Mantic Games to introduce Worms, the board game. While there are no official announcements regarding new digital titles, the community remains hopeful for future developments.